Hi everyone, I'm Mark. I want to introduce you to a new card game. I had the idea for this game when my friend Dan and his family were visiting for spring break. We played this great game called King's Cribbage, which is like a cross between Scrabble and the card game Cribbage. Really great game. And we played Pai Gow poker at the casino, and we played a whole bunch of pickleball, and that was super fun, although that's not really relevant. Anyways, after he and his family left, I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought of this game. I've been playtesting it for the last week. I probably played 50 games just against myself, and I got my wife to play it. The next morning she said, and I quote, "I like your game." Okay, so here's how it works. You take a standard deck of cards that includes the jokers, and you separate black from red. Then you separate your kings, queens, and jacks, and that's the court, like the king's court. And then the aces are captains, and then the jokers are mercenaries. And then the rest of the cards are the infantry. And you're playing out a medieval battle. Think like Game of Thrones. The goal is to capture cards of the other color. And I'm going to show you the easy version first, which I call Frontline. And then the advanced game I'm calling Battlefield, and I'll have to make a separate video for that. The rules are 90% the same. Anyways, you start by shuffling your infantry. You're going to play on either side of the table. I'm going to switch sides here. Okay, you deal out the first two lines, alternating in a checkerboard pattern. Okay, those are called the front lines. Each row is a line. Now each player takes their infantry cards and they mix in all of their captains and mercenaries and the king's court. And you shuffle really good. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. So this is your battle deck, and it goes in front of you and you draw from it. You're going to take turns with the other player, and to figure out who goes first, you look at the lowest cards. So both red and black have a 2. So then you go to the next lowest card, which is 4 of spades, and it's black, so the black player goes first. So the first thing you do when you start your turn is make sure that you have 5 cards in your hand, and you draw from the top of your battle deck. So here is my hand. I've got a queen, jack, 10, and an 8. Like I said, the goal of the game is to capture the other player's cards, and I'll explain how in a moment. But it's important to know that the kings and queens are worth 3 points each, jacks are worth 2, and then the rest of the cards are worth 1, including your captains or your aces. Okay, so how do you capture cards? So each row is what we call a line, and it is evaluated according to poker rules. And if you don't know poker hands, just Google list of poker hands and read the Wikipedia article. So looking at the top line, there are 2 5s, so that's a pair, and then there's an 8, 7, 4 as kickers. Then on the bottom line, there are 2 pairs, 6s and 2s, and an 8 kicker. And as the black player, I want to capture red cards. I can attack red cards one at a time with one of my cards, and an attack is only allowed if exchanging the 2 cards will make the poker hand stronger. So, looking at the top line, I can capture the 8 of diamonds with my 10 of clubs, because a pair of 5s with 10, 7, 4 kicker is better than a pair of 5s with 8, 7, 4. So I can take the 8 with my 10, but I can't capture the 5 of hearts with my 10 because that would make the hand weaker. I'd be breaking the pair, and a 10, 8, 7, 5, 4 hand is not as valuable as one with a pair. Okay, now looking at the bottom row, I can't take the 6 of diamonds with my 10 of clubs because it's part of a pair. But I can take it with my 8 of clubs because it will change the highest pair from 6s to 8s. And I'm gonna go do that. So when you capture a card, just put it off to the right here. You're gonna keep track of your captured cards in this area over here. Now, once I start attacking a line, it's part of a skirmish. And I can keep attacking for as long as I have cards that will work, but I can't attack another line. Here I'm gonna use my 10 of clubs to capture the 6 of hearts. It's vulnerable now because it's not a part of a pair. So now black has 2 points. Do you get it? It'll take some practice to understand what moves are available, but I think it's pretty rewarding when you figure out how to capture 3 or 4 cards by sequencing things to make the hand work at each step. Now you may ask, why not use the jack or the queen to capture the 6? Well, those cards are worth more. And if you're going to put them in a line, ideally they would be protected from your opponent by at least being part of a pair. And we'll cover those scenarios in a bit. Okay, black's turn is finished, so let's switch to red. Okay, as red, I'm going to draw 5 cards. Okay, and I've got pretty high cards. I've got 2 10s and an ace and a king, and I can see that this row here is going to be pretty easy pickings, but I have to go in the right order. I'm going to attack the 8 of spades first with my 10 of hearts, so then it's going to be 10s and 2s instead of 8s and 2s, which is a higher hand. Now my next attack is important. If I use my 10 of diamonds to attack the other 8, then I'll have a full house and I can't make another attack. If instead I attack the 2 of spades, that works because now I have 3 of a kind, and I can use my ace to attack the 8 of clubs. So I capture 3 cards instead of 2, and red is now winning 3-2. Okay, my turn ends and we go back to black. Okay, I have 3 cards as black, and I'm gonna draw 2 to make it a 5-card hand. And I got another queen and a 6 of spades. Now I could attack this row because the ace is vulnerable to my queens. I could attack the 2 and then the ace. But looking at the top row here, I can see that I can take the 5 of hearts with my 6 of spades. Why can I do that? Because that would make a straight. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And actually, it's pretty close to being a straight flush, and that can be important later, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, as red, I need to draw 3 cards, and I've got 2 kings, a jack, a 7, and a 4. Now, as red, I'm in a bit of trouble. There are no moves I can make on the board that wouldn't be attacking my own cards. I can't attack this straight, and I can't attack the 10 here because it's part of a 3 of a kind. So the other option I can take instead of attacking is called deploying. I use all 5 of my cards to deploy to a new line. And unfortunately, I now have 3 court cards out there that are not very well protected. The kings are at least part of a pair, but the jack is by itself. And red's turn ends after deploying. So back to black, and I draw 1 card, and it was a 6 of clubs. So I have 2 queens, a jack, 6, and a 3. So I could play my queens on this line or that line. If I play them on this line, I can take the 2 and then the ace, and then the queens will be part of a full house. So I'm gonna do that. And now I've captured a total of 5 points. Okay, back to red, and I have to draw 5 cards. So I have a queen, 9, 8, 3, 2. Okay, I see that I can deploy my queen in a protected way. So I can attack this row, and I will attack the 10. And the reason I can attack this full house is that queens over 10s is higher than 10s over queens. So that allows me to protect the queens. If they're part of a full house, it's hard to attack them, especially if they're on top. Okay, back to black, and I draw 2 cards, and it was a 4 and a 7. And I'm gonna attack this row with my jack, and then I'm gonna attack with my 7. So I take this with my jack, now there's 2 pair, and I take this with the 7. So that's another 2 points. So black is winning 7-4. Okay, back to red, and I have to draw 1 card. It was a 5 of diamonds. So now the only move that I have that will work, because I've got some pretty low cards here, is that I can take the 7 of clubs, and I'm gonna take it with my 9 of hearts. Now, I could have decided to just deploy all 5 of my cards to a new line, but they're all really low valued and unprotected, so they'd be really easy pickings. Okay, the score is 7-5, and black has to draw 2 cards, and they were 2 kings. Now black is doing well here because they can take a couple of cards in this row and have their kings protected really well, because the first king makes a 3 of a kind, and then I take the 9, and that makes a 4 of a kind, which is great protection for the kings. I mean, it protects the other person's kings too, but you got to worry about yourself. Okay, black's starting to run away with it because that jack was worth 2 points. So it's 10-5 now. So red draws 1 card, and it's a joker. Okay, so the joker, when it is used, it serves the highest purpose within a line. So let's look at a couple of scenarios as the red player. This middle line is a full house. I can't attack either of the black queens because nothing that the joker could become will make the hand higher. The joker would just serve as a queen, and that's making the hand equal, not higher. For the bottom row, I could attack the jack, and that would make the bottom row a 5 of a kind, which is the highest possible poker hand, and it requires at least 1 joker. But there's another option. I can attack my own card in this row, and that's called a sacrifice. The card still goes to your opponent, and so you're giving up at least 1 point. So why on earth would you do that? Because I want to summon a dragon. What is a dragon? A dragon breathes fire from above and captures all opponent cards within a line. All lines are defenseless against dragons. Now, how do you summon a dragon? By making a straight flush. So if I use my joker to attack my own card, this 8, then the joker is going to serve as the 8 of spades. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all spades. That's a straight flush. And even though this is my opponent's color, black, I played the card, and so I summon and control the dragon. And I can attack any line I want to, but I'm going to attack the bottom row because I can take 2 kings and a jack. So I traded 1 point to capture 3, 6, 8 points. So now who's winning? 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Red is winning 13-11. Now that row with 2 kings left is incomplete, and it cannot be attacked unless a player deploys another 3 cards to it and makes it complete. Okay, so now it's black's turn again, and they have to draw 2 cards. And it was an ace and a jack. Okay, so this is a flush in my hand. So when you have a flush in your hand, it's generally a good idea to consider deploying because your opponent can only attack a flush with a joker. And you know that they already played their joker. And the reason only with the joker is that they don't have any of your suits, so they can't take any cards in the flush because they don't have any of your suit. They don't have any clubs. So a flush is a highly defended line. Okay, back over to red. Red draws 1 more card, and it's a 7 of diamonds. And this is not a strong hand. Looking at the board, there's nothing it can attack. Can't attack the flush, can't attack the full house, can't attack the straight flush. So we have to just deploy. But we can minimize exposure by deploying to the line that has the 2 kings. So I'm gonna deploy 5, 3, 2. Okay, now black has to draw 5 cards because they played that flush. They get kind of a mishmash of cards. Black is able to exploit red's last move and take 3 cards using 10, 9, and 3. 10, 9, and 3. Okay, so black is winning again, 14-13. Let's see what red draws. It's another mishmash. So let's just take the 10 and the 3 and not put our queen out there for easy pickings. And red is on top again, 15-14. And black draws its final 3 cards. And black got its joker. Okay, so what to do with joker? Well, look at this straight flush. Can it be improved? Yes, by attacking the 4 at the bottom of the flush and turning it into a 9. Why would I attack my own card again? To summon another dragon. 2 kings, an ace, and a 4, all taken in one fell swoop. Well, red is losing badly now, 22-16, and they draw 2 cards, and they're not much help, 9 and a 3. And ideally, you don't want to deploy the queen in a helpless position, but you also don't want to be stuck with it, because one of the rules is any court cards that are still in your hand or in your battle deck at the end of the game automatically get surrendered to the opponent as what we call cowards, because they didn't enter the battle. So red can choose to attack one of their own 10s, which essentially protects the queen, and you're trading 1 point for protection of 3. Okay, so black has 4 cards left and their battle deck is gone, but they have an interesting move that they can make. So you can recruit a joker back into your hand if you have a card that it is currently representing. So in this straight flush, there's 5, 6, 7, and then the jokers represent 8 and 9. And I have the 9 of spades. So I can recruit the joker back into my hand like that. And now I've got the joker again, and that ends my turn. So it's back to red, and they draw 1 card, and it's the Jack of Hearts. And at this point, red really just wants to wave the white flag. And so they just deploy all 5 cards to a new line and end their turn. When someone runs out of cards or can't attack or complete a line, then that is the start of the truce, and the other player gets to take 1 more turn. So black could actually use their joker again to make an even higher flush by taking this 5, and then the joker becomes a 10 of spades and another dragon gets summoned. But since they're winning by so much, black wants to show some mercy and end the game by just taking the jack and the 9. Okay, and that ends the game. Black didn't have anything left in their battle deck. They don't have any court cards in their hands, so they don't have to surrender anything as cowards. And let's see what the final score is. 3, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 to 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. What a drubbing by black. Okay, I've seen a ton of cool stuff happening in my playtesting. A lot of interesting strategy to consider. One thing to keep in mind is that you have a lot of information about what cards have been played and which are yet to be played. So that can affect the choices that you make. Anyways, if you give it a try, let me know if you like it. I've written out the rules and I'll post those below the video. As I mentioned, I'm gonna make another video to describe the more advanced battlefield version where you play on a big 10 by 11 board and it feels a little bit more like Scrabble. And there are princes and princesses. But first I have to actually make the board. Okay, bye everyone. Here's a video of my dog sleeping with its eyes open.